The Democrats' shutdown, Trump is calling it. We've got, from the time of recording this, 3 hours and 20 minutes. This is the whitehouse.gov government shutdown clock with a big red banner saying Democrat shutdown is imminent. CNN says U.S. braces for government shutdown as midnight deadline looms.
Can I just say, CNN is hyping this up like it's going to be the Purge or something. I hope.
Well,
there's no laws after midnight and the siren comes out, like in the movie.
I thought that was the case. It's not the case?
No, yeah, it actually is. No, Trump's going to come out and he goes, I got a great idea.
Trump has an opportunity to do an incredible thing right now. He could say the Democrats don't want to fund it. You know what? We're not going to fund it. We're going to get rid of the IRS. We're going to get rid of the Federal Reserve. We're going to go on a GoFundMe system. And you're going to, so if you want to bomb Iran, here's our GoFundMe for bombing Iran.
Oh,
if you want healthcare,
give, send, go.
If you want Social Security, give, send, go, sir. Yeah, you're right. Give, send, go. Yeah. So it's apologies for that. So give, send, go. But yeah, I mean, that's how the government should run.
In all seriousness, though, Trump wouldn't do that, but he does have an opportunity of firing lots more people.
Yeah.
He can say to them, okay, if you're not going to fund this, he already instructed federal agencies to prepare for redundancies. They're basically saying, we don't have the funding for this, so we're going to start firing way more people. The Democrats tried playing politics, as they often do, saying, we demand all of these policy changes. What did they want? They wanted, what was it, 1.5 trillion? In certain, they wanted funding, healthcare funding for non-citizens, for illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. The Republicans say no to this. Democrats say then we're not going to vote for it. Now Trump can be like, oh, gee, I guess we can't pay. I guess we got to fire people.
Well, and there's that video from Maxine Waters that James Blair just tweeted out, and he's basically like, where she says something about, somebody asks her, okay, so are you really demanding healthcare for illegal aliens? And she's like, well, we want healthcare for everyone. It's like, yep. So you admit it. Like, in the same token, right? Remember, illegal aliens don't vote, but then the illegal alien who was found to be a school board supervisor in Iowa is actually registered to vote in Maryland since 2012, and he's not a U.S. citizen at all. But I'm sure he never actually cast a ballot. I mean, that would be crazy, right?
Yeah, he's been here for what? How long has he been here?
Like
and he's been registered
12, 13 years or something?
Yep.
Or at least he was registered for that long. He might have been here longer.
And he was getting paid, what, $300,000 a year?
Yep. And it sounds to me like
dude.
That was probably, the name he's using is probably an assumed identity.
Yep.
And so he was under that, because it's like a Bob Smith kind of name, and
this is nuts.
And
like
so
the
if that's
degree
happening,
to which,
then just imagine what we don't know about.
I think we hear these numbers like, oh, the high end is 20 million illegal immigrants came into this country. I think it's way higher than that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think when we uncover things like this, where you got a guy working as a superintendent, getting paid low, mid six figures, I think it's probably way crazier than that. We get another story we'll get to in a little bit about how in Minnesota they found half of all of these people were, these migrants were committing immigration fraud to come to the United States.
Wait, not in Minnesota? Why?
Oh, heavens me? No, not in Minnesota.
No, not in Ilhan Omar's district.
No.
There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way at a fraud.
Well, you saw.
I mean, she's the shining epitome of ethics and morals.
Right.
I know. Look how much she loves her family.
Just, I mean, you look at that familial agape that we have there. It's Greek. It's very Greek.
Yeah, the city of brotherly love.
Yeah.
Philos Delphos.
Not that one. But.
Philos Delphos, yes.
What's the Greek
You saw like Stefanik, she put a memo out about how they're giving these CDLs out in blue states and there's just no name given on there. Like, imagine how many no name givens there are in the country.
I think there was a raid or something, and they set up a checkpoint for CDLs, and I want to say it was Oklahoma just this week, or like the report came out this week, and they found something like 100 drivers in one raid, in just one checkpoint that evening. So if you can find that in one operation, I mean, again, do the math. Like, how many truckers do we have in this country, and how many should not be on the roads in this country?
And that's an industry where there is documentation required. So imagine
just obviously you're driving a semi down the road, and we all see them. And I, honestly, like, I'm just going to say it, when I've noticed in my lifetime that it used to be that guys who were driving a semi, truck drivers, like, they were typically like some of the safest drivers on the road. Like, I remember growing up, and it was great, and you could, get them do the horn, and they were just fun. Or my dad was really big into CB radio, so we were always talking, even though he didn't drive a truck, but we were always talking to truckers and things like that because they use CB, and we all had handles and stuff. And I feel like that whole culture is gone now.
Oh, yeah.
And when you see one of those things driving down the road, the first thing I do is think I got to get away from
Yeah.
that, because they drive so unsafely whenever you see them now.
Oh yeah, you go to Love's now and there's a whole trays of just samosas now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's game over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are delicious.
Yeah, but it's also a really bad indicator.
Right, but the indicator is
dude.
that
You guys got to understand the power of British colonialism. Like chicken tikka masala was invented in Scotland.
It's true.
Orange chicken, I think, was made in Hawaii. Right. So a lot of people are like, look at all this food. We made it. It's ours. I take credit for it.
Well, it was combined, with the tomato sauce and everything.
Well, but let's be real. Britain invaded and took over these countries, stole their stuff, and made it better.
Well, I mean,
Could you imagine what
Tim, the diamonds are worthless if they stay in the ground.
Could you imagine with the world without colonization? No chicken tikka masala.
How would we live?
No orange chicken.
No orange chicken. How would we live?
We'd be eating maize.
I'll take my
goodness.
casseroles if it means getting my country back.
Porridge.
I'll put up with it.
By the way, recipes do exist. I always love that line where we're like, well, who's going to make the tacos? I'm like, my mom makes tacos.
Yeah.
Like, and I have a ton of you can make tacos.
They live in, these liberals live in a weird cult reality. Like to throw it back to the government shutdown stuff, they're acting like this is the apocalypse. Like you were saying, CNN's acting like the purge is going to happen. No one's going to notice a thing. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people who aren't going to get paychecks. I understand all that. That's bad for the people who work in government. But I don't think our government sector should be so big.
By the way, and I'll just say this as having been a government worker, I think it was the 2014 shutdown, the Boehner one. It was like 13 or 14. And you get paid. You just get paid later. Like everybody gets paid. It's all a farce.
Well,
and
the government can just print money whenever they want.
that they do. And what's going to happen though is that, and the reason you're seeing this response is because, you were talking theology and Charlie's theology.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the liberals have a theology too, and their theology is worship of the government. This is their theological devotion to government, particularly through the courts, the court system. And this is why you see them being so focused on there used to be the libertarian line about, you can't legislate morality, but that's exactly what the Democrats do. They just don't do it with their with a quote unquote organized religion, but they'll do it through every left wing religion that they can find.
Not just that, but you take a look at how we describe our rights. They are God given.
Yeah.
They exist irrespective of government. And what do liberals say?
Tim Kaine.
Government grants your rights.
Yeah, Tim Kaine came up and got in that huge debate with, I believe it was Ted Cruz recently. He said, no, government gives you your rights. Government gives you your rights. And it's true that,
you're not a citizen,
that
you're a
government.
subject.
And so what's true, though, is that no, Tim, government protects your rights. Government is supposed to be, in a working system. The reason that you have government is, say, you have the right to, well, let's take Charlie's example, the right to exist. And when you have a group of people that exist to oppress you and take away your right to exist, then you can't have dialogue with them. So your right to exist, your right to freedom of speech, and we have the whole litany of protected rights that just because, and the Constitution itself even says in the Bill of Rights, these rights are not the only rights you have. They are just the rights that we have written down specifically here because they are so important that we want to make sure they are enshrined.
It's funny, Jake, as you mentioned, if people don't let you exist, how are you supposed to live in this country? The left has been screaming that for the better part of 15 years.
They write it on their guitars.
And the funny thing is, literally none of the mainstream right was advocating for their elimination. They were just screaming things that weren't true and have now started killing the people who are asking for a conversation. Mm-hmm. So I think now people on the right are starting to realize what time it is.
Yeah.
That's the terrifying reality.
This happened to my mother in Malaysia like 45 years ago under the Islamic government.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how oppressive it can be if you do not have the right to practice your faith the way that you need to do that, and to have your conscience and to serve God and not have the government usurp that, so that people that are arguing for these ideals or these paradigms in a godless manner or or seeking to oppress the freedom of the conscience. My mom, the newspapers at the time, she got arrested and had her passport taken off her, so she couldn't actually even escape the country. And the Australian newspapers said, Islamic woman converts to Christianity, is death penalty possible? And that was exactly what was invoked with my mother, simply because she wanted to change her beliefs. And we need to have systems that support our ability to practice our faith freely. And by a series of 3 miracles, she actually escaped, which is incredible. One of which she was visited on foot by a gentleman that explained to her that the indoctrination camp that she did get sentenced to, she was going to get executed at, and he left on foot. This was a non-publicized case. How did he know this? It was just a judge in the room that sentenced her, and now she's got this intel she needs to escape, and then 2 other miracles happened. And so it's, personal faith, the ability to practice these things, understanding that when people seek to oppress your freedom and how you seek to enter into discourse, the freedom by which you can dialogue, these are things that we need to fight for, and that's what Charlie stood for.
Let's jump to the story from Newsweek. Trump threatens to fire generals on the spot if he doesn't like them. We got this clip. It's absolutely amazing. Rapid Response 47 of Donald Trump greeting these a bunch of generals and commanding officers.
I think it was all the generals.
It was all the generals?
All the generals.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pete. Great job you're doing, too. Fantastic job. I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Don't laugh. Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank, there goes your future.
Oh, wow.
But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir, you won't hear a murmur in the room. I said, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit. So you just have a good time. But thank you.
I love that.
Pete.
I love that.
Amazing.
No one's ever talked to so this is General Officer, Flag Officer, so generals and admirals on the Navy side, and Coast Guard if they have any admirals there. That again, no one's ever talked to them like that. They have so much power within the military system. They are considered, just the highest of the high, staff upon staff upon staff, and they're constantly competing with one another. The vast majority of them who came up during the Obama years and then the Biden years, they look down on Trump. We've seen all of the military, political correctness that was put out. Darren Beattie did a huge piece on this on Revolver and was talking about this, how they were specifically getting rid of people. And in many cases, through the military war colleges, you would find that under Obama, really starting with Obama 1, that they promoted from within people who had the right kind of politics. So people learned to parrot critical race theory or DEI or all of these climate change, whatever the various things were, LGBT, make sure you push all this stuff or you won't make rank, you won't be able to get all the way up there. And so that's what they all did. They all just went along with it. And suddenly they're sitting there going like, wait, who are you to tell us this? You didn't do any of that stuff. Well, he's the president of the United States, and actually he's your commander in chief. You're not the commander. He's the one that the American people voted for and delegated sovereign authority over the United States military and all other sovereign powers of the executive too.
The liberals should be terrified of these people. These are generals who are willing to say and do anything for political power. These are the people who would follow any order without any shred of conscience. Donald Trump should fire these people. We want brave men and women who are going to stand up truly for what they believe in and for this country, not just hire overweight people to fill quotas so they can get political points and advance their career.
I mean, I'd be totally fine with firing the vast majority of them. America would be better off. I mean, you got a problem with the force in terms of not just the the 07 level and above, but 07 to 010. But you've got this across the government because those systems that I just talked about where the Obamas and then the Biden admin just went on steroids with this. Plus, they were getting rid of people over COVID. Those people, even if they come back, they're never going to be on their career leadership track again. And so what they did is they set up an incentive structure for you to quote unquote be liberal, be a leftist, and then you could make rank. And that's not just in the military. That's across every single federal agency.
Well, let's play ball. How about Hegseth just says, okay, those guys that stood up for what they believed in and refused and either resigned or were let go, come back and we're going to bump you up.
I mean, you can. You totally you can.
Trump can do whatever he wants.
There's the President of the United States as Commander in Chief. I mean, he'd have to sign a lot of documents. But he could promote anybody right now, and he could also bust them down right now if he wanted to. He has absolute authority to do so.
What do you think would happen if he were these generals
constitutional
and just said,
authority?
What if he demoted them?
That's what I'm saying. He could bust you. He could bust them down to the rank of 01 if he wanted to. Or what he could do is he could reduce.
That's just insulting.
He could leave them in rank because there is legislation there. So he could leave them in rank, but he could reduce them in pay to that of a butter bar or to an 01. And he could switch their orders, and make them all have to deploy to Antarctica or something.
No way, Antarctica's fun.
Okay, where should we send them?
It's got to be somewhere like Tate. It's like they got to clean the streets of Baltimore or something.
He'd totally make them do all that.
Someone's got to peel the potatoes.
Yes, yeah. I like cleaning the streets of Baltimore. Or
Baltimore needs clean
streets.
There's
that video going around of I guess it was the it wasn't the military, but it was Border Patrol, and they were up armored going down that one bridge in Chicago over the river, and they're right in front of Trump Hotel. And David Axelrod is like, just look at this picture. One picture says 1,000 words, and I said, yeah, and this one says, hell yeah.
Dude, I'll scream to the heavens. I'm from Chicago. My friends, everybody I know, they're like, cool. No, I don't know anybody complaining about it. There's two reactions I get from my friends back home. It's, I don't know. Like, oh, hey, did you see the ICE guys walking on downtown? Oh, are they? Yeah, they're like walking down the street. They're by Whacker, and they go, oh. The other reaction is, hell yeah. I don't know anybody going, this is wrong, this is authority. I don't know, man. Neighborhood I'm from, people are happy that it's finally getting cleaned up. People are tired of having to get worried about being mugged or shot at in a ridiculous city.
I just say, hey, man, put Philly on the list. Don't forget Philly. Keep in mind, if we're doing America 250, we need Philly to be cleaned up by then.
Oh, that's a good point.
We need Philly to be cleaned up by
next
the
year?
4th of J.
We only got, 9 months?
No, we only got a couple months left. Not even.
I'm in Memphis. I'm just glad we jumped the line. I'm very happy,
Man,
yeah,
Memphis is so.
Yeah.
Memphis jumping the line.
Memphis is why does Memphis jump the line?
Because we have FedEx. We got to get these packages out.
That being said, what they do in Memphis, it's horrific.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's every city though. It's every single American city that has become completely lawless. That's completely. You talk about Portland and the Nick Shirley video, but it's every city. You can't have this anymore. We saw what happened in North Carolina, and
it's on purpose.
These crooks. Well, it's absolutely on purpose. It is a system called anarcho-tyranny, whereby an anarchy is allowed out on the streets to cow and terrify. It is domestic terrorism against your own populace to say these criminals will be allowed out. 39 times was the one Elon was tweeting about earlier today, and he executed this. I think that was South Carolina.
Yeah.
And her father came out and executed this girl on her knees.
Logan
He's been arrested 39 times. Yes, thank you. And
that father is being very nice.
I would not be able to just sit down and have a conversation
yell,
if something like that happens. And the point is, you will support the tyranny because the anarchy keeps you in check because you're so scared.
Yeah.
But one of the big pieces of this too is that governors have sovereignty in this country, not mayors. Mayors and cities do not have sovereignty. And yes, there's a lot of home rule charters that were passed in the 1970s, but constitutionally that is not sound at all. Under every state's law, the governor has sole sovereign authority of each state. And so when you've got these states, like at least South Carolina now, I know North Carolina has a Democrat governor and a Democrat AG, but in a place like South Carolina or Texas or, take your pick, the governor's just got to start coming in.
Not to nitpick, it's not full anarchy because people who defend themselves are prosecuted by the George Soros district
That's anarcho-tyranny.
But it's not enforced where the government just stays out of the way. The government makes sure that when you stand up for yourself and you get attacked by these gangs that are approved by the state and have the state causes that they fight for, just like the Chavistas in Venezuela, the state always protects the people who are committing the crimes on behest of the establishment, but the people who defend themselves can't fight back.
That's
right,
right.
and that's right. And that, yeah, no, he's explaining. I didn't explain it.
Yeah.
You're right. That's the tyranny side, right? So the tyranny side is if you defend yourself, you're a terrorist. You are someone who's an evildoer. You are someone who's like, wait a minute, they came at me, or this guy was going crazy on the train, like Daniel Penny, and I defended myself, like. And we can all sit and watch that horrific video of Irina Zarutka. That was one of the last things I talked to Charlie about. One of the very last things I talked to Charlie about. Well, I think you can go look on his Twitter. It's like one of the last tweets that he actually had up was about her. Imagine if there was a Daniel Penny on that train. Now, I don't know if he'd been able to get there quick enough, just given the extreme nature and like the speed about what happened. But again, that's the point. He knew that there were no Daniel Pennies out there.
Yeah, it's the culture. It's the culture of knowing that you could get away with this stuff and they won't do anything to you.
That's right.
And if there was a culture of, people are able to carry firearms, people are able to defend themselves. If there wasn't national public examples of people defending themselves that are getting in trouble, the situation would be different and criminals would be thinking a lot different than they are.
They're like, I'm going to go to jail and I'm not going to get out in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And regardless, all of this too, it's like El Salvador has just proven in 2025 that crime is just optional. Like it's just you can just turn it off.
You can just turn it off.
Not hard. Yeah.
Bukele.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe we need to be more like El Salvador.
Every liberal academic has just been completely debunked for like the last 50 years. Well, what if we offer? No. Well, what if? No, shut up.
You mean we can't just
Bukele.
let the violent murderers onto the street?
Bukele.
Yeah.
Just Bukele every city.
Yeah,
Bukele every single city in
hire
America.
Bukele as a consultant for every major city to go one.
Yeah, it's like he can't run for president, but can Trump appoint him like, as a,
just pay contractor, we just
special
consultant.
government employee, special consultant, what was Elon? Was SGE, right?
Yeah.
He's a special consultant, right?
Yeah.
I think the only way to get to the real root of this issue is exactly what Charlie would do, to have discourse with people that help people navigate to their true north, because violence will always exist unless there is a deeper philosophy, a belief, a morality that transcends that and that gives people a reason not to do those things, not to violate somebody else. And if I was doing some research last night on J.D. Unwin, who was he was from Oxford. He was looking at what happens over societies. He studied 81 different societies and looked at the moral, firstly, the sexual revolutions that would happen. And then 3 generations down, the society would become so worthless and so degraded that they would become overthrown by another group. And he was not a Christian as well, or he certainly was not known to be. And so he was commenting on this big issue. And if you look, we're 3 generations from the free love and the free sex movement, which was a complete degradation of Christian values. And the product we're seeing it today. Yep. And to bring people back to that true north, because again, you look at the 10 Commandments, it says blatantly, thou shalt not kill. And these are the things that then—
Thou shalt not murder.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that one's a deep one, and the part on that I'm sure that we'd agree on, that people taking these matters into their own hands and going out to the streets and doing violent things.
But
and
we don't want to get to that point. And by the way, you mentioned Malaysia. I mean, what Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore, right next door, is he took an area that was a complete backwater port and turned it into one of the 4 Asian tigers, and he did so through this imposition of a very strict legal system that was applied across the board. It was applied across the board. It didn't matter what rung of society you were from, that if you broke the laws or if you were an American tourist, guess what? This is going to be applied to you. And he took that and he made it this shining example of one of the most dynamic cities and robust cities in the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.